Welcome back to my series on the Dragrace game. So I'm going to start phase 1, but I'm going to do the tutorial version. Drag P1A, I believe, is the advanced version, but I don't know if there's actually a difference between P1 and P1A. But I know for a fact there's a difference between the tutorial edition, so that's what I'm going to do. Oh wow, that started quick. Okay. So I don't actually want the tutorial text. There are other differences to this version, but the tutorial text for me has been really pointless. Okay, so I can put my name, and I can put my name in lowercase because it only matters uppercase for the actual choices. Like if I type anything other than a capital C and then press enter, it will take it as if I'm just pressing enter because capital C is the only thing that it's looking for. So, what I want is actually, so here's what's going on. I'm starting with $250 and I need to choose a car. I can either choose my own car, which I will be getting from the back row of a disreputable used car lot, but the car will cost under $200, so most of my money. Or I can have the computer choose a car for me, which will come from the front row of a junkyard, but the prices are under $50, so far less. And since I don't, here, you know what? I'm gonna press enter and choose my own car because I want to show what this looks like. So press enter to look at the cars. So it tells the year. It's a 1948 Chevy Fleetmaster Coupe. You have to memorize the number if you find a number that you like. So we're on number 1. It's 90 horsepower, 216 CID, and costs $79. And then there's some description lines. The original 90 horsepower engine may need a valve job. It doesn't smoke much. Very little rust is visible. So you have number 2, a standard 3-speed transmission. Body has normal rust and dings. For some reason, this only has one description line. The engine doesn't smoke much, but the body shows a lot of rust. I think there's about 10 options in here. Number 4, the flathead V8 seems to run good. Very minor rust, paint a little faded. Number 5, the original 105 horsepower 6-cylinder seems to run good. Paint is somewhat faded and body shows a little rust. So this is basically in good condition. Number 6, the original 125 horsepower straight 8 smokes a little. Body shows some rust and has a major dent in the side. You know what? Maybe I'm going to choose number 6. I have to remember that. Number 7, original 82 horsepower engine still seems to run alright. Has overdrive, interior, and paint are decent. Number 8, the original 100 horsepower V8 runs rough. Engine will probably need an overhaul soon. I wonder if that will cause problems. Okay, how about number 8? Number 9, the original straight 8 still runs okay. Body has some rust, interior is poor. The interior is poor is not going to matter at all for this race. I think that's just so that you have like an image in your mind of the car. Number 10, this is a real coupe body with elongated trunk. This car seems to be in very good condition. Oh, what is this? 1946 Chrysler Royal 3-pass coupe. Number 10, listed at 114 horsepower, 250 CID, costs $99. It doesn't tell me how many cylinders. That's just luck if it's in the description. Number 11, original engine still runs okay. Some rust, paint is fair, smokes but holds oil pressure. Okay, so I'm gonna press number 8. Manufacturer Ford, displacement 239, horsepower 100 at 3600 torque. Oh, at 3600. I don't know what the 3600 is. Torque is 190 at 1800. No idea. And then it goes into an actual description. I think the first one was actually not meant to be outputted. I think that was old leftover from debugging. Okay, so I have 100 horsepower, 239 CID, 1947 Ford Coupe sedan, and $151 remaining. So I press enter. Now we go to player 2. This is a local multiplayer game. Okay. Because we did that, I'm gonna press C and see what the computer chooses. Okay, you have to put a seed number in. This has to do with random numbers. Now they use the clock generally to generate this, but this is the old days. Okay, so player 2, have a 90 horsepower, 248 CID, 1941 Buick Special 2-door, and $215 remaining. So those two lines are exactly the same. If you leave out the manufacturer Buick, okay, well that's repeated. There are some repeated lines in the code, I can see that. Lane 1 is programmed to shift at 4330 RPM. If you want to change this, you can input your desired RPM. I'm going to just press enter because I don't know what I'm doing. And then lane 2 has the same option. It is defaulting to shift at 3930 RPM. Okay. Oh, so here's the race. Now, because of the way this was done, so I'm going to sit here and explain this. My dad put extra lines of code in to slow down the progression of the race. Because, let me see if I do this. I'd like to show you this part before I continue talking. So I'm pressing F12. I'm going to do it a few more times. I'm pressing Control F12. If you see at the top of the screen, it started at 3,000 cycles. It's now at 101,918. So I'm going to do this a few more times. Okay, there we go. Hang on. What was I trying to say? Oh, so you see how this says 0.6 is 0.6 seconds, and this is 0.7 seconds. So the point was that each line to say what's going on in the race is meant to show. This was meant to show 0.6 seconds into the race. This line was meant to show 1 second into the race, and we go from there. Because of the way that DosBox is emulating the CPU speed, that slowdown is actually making it so much slower than it was ever meant to be. So I have to Control F12. I think I was doing this at like around 4,500. So I'll stop at 46,288. One time I went too far and I thought my computer was gonna freeze or something was gonna crash. So I'll speed this up in the editing. But you have your 3, 2, 1, go. The center under the 3, 2, 1, go, that's the amount of time that's been since the race started. Then you have your lane 1 and lane 2. So lane 1 at 6 seconds in, both lanes are at 1 foot, and lane 1 stopped burning rubber. And then at 0.7 seconds, car 2 stopped burning oil, and there's car 2 is at 1 foot still, but car 1 was up to 3 feet by then. So we can see who's ahead right now. 1 second into the race, they're both around 6 miles per hour. The car 2 is just under 6. The car 1 is almost 7 miles per hour. 5 feet and 4 feet, not that bad. And you have your 848 RPM and 696 RPM. Alright, and then 2 seconds in, this is all I have to talk about. So you're just watching this. Your whole point is to choose your car and make modifications and then see what happens. Each player chooses their car, makes their modifications, and then you watch the race and see what happened. So at 2 seconds in, car 1 is 13.5 miles per hour. Car 2 is over 11.5 miles per hour. Their RPMs are going up, so we're getting close to the point when they're gonna shift. And you can see how many feet. So this is a drag race is a quarter mile, so this is like 1,300 something feet. I think it's a quarter of 5,280. Oh, and then you see at the bottom, you can see what they are. So you have a 100 horsepower, 239 CI, so the CI is CID, 33 pounds, and then the 4.11, I have no idea. And then over here you have a 90 horsepower, 248 CID, or CI, 3590 pounds, so this one weighs more, and it has less horsepower anyway. And I don't know what CID is, cubic inch displacement. And then you have 3.9, which again, I assume that has something to do with the gears, but I don't see how that can make sense. Okay, now car 1 shifted at 5.6 seconds into the race. It was at 4347 RPM, going 31 miles per hour. And at that same point, car 2 is 115 feet into the race. Car 2 is getting close to shifting. It was like 3,900 it's supposed to shift. And you can see that the RPMs went down. It was at 4347. It shifted, so it's now at 2588. And low time is basically the fastest race. The fastest race we've had so far is none because we haven't had a race. In the cars that I've been using before this, it was taking like 20 or 21 seconds, 20 to 22 seconds, somewhere in there, to finish. I don't know how much narration I can do because I do plan to speed this up in editing, because I would like this to, I don't care if it goes 1 second each, but it's gotta go faster than this. Alright, car 2 shifted at 3935 RPM, so it gets pretty close to the RPM that we set, and it was at 33 miles per hour. And a half a second earlier, car 1 was at 35.7, and it's already moved on from there. Car 1 is going faster. I think it's pretty clear who's gonna win this at this point. I want to see a car like break down and not be able to finish a race, and I want to see when it's really close, or one car was behind and then like sped up for some reason. They were able to get ahead a bit, or it's so close that it's going back and forth who's in the lead. Stuff like that. I don't know how likely any of that is, and there are so many cars to choose from that I can't just go through all the options and see what happens. Although I think I might have to later. Oh look, 33 RPM. See, at 7 seconds, car 1 was at 35.7 miles per hour. This one, it took between 8 and 9 seconds for car number 2 to get there. So car number 1, this stuff is being rounded, the number of feet we are. At 0.6 seconds into the race, car number 1 was 1 foot, close to car number 2. But a tenth of a second later, car number 2 is still at 1 foot, but car number 1 has gone up to 3 feet. I can't picture feet, so I can't really imagine what that looks like. So the US is meant to be one of the only or few countries possibly the only country, I don't know, that uses the imperial system. So what does the rest of the world do with a drag race? How long is a drag race to the rest of the world? Is it like in meters? Is it the same exact distance, or is it just as close as I can get by converting? It's saying that I still have a bit of background noise. Okay, so we have a winner, lane 1, not a surprise. 65.22 miles per hour to 58. Okay, so clearly player 1 has a better car. And that was the more expensive one. Alright, so it summarizes again the cars. It tells how much money each player has. The value of the car. Oh wow, valued at $35. And how many races each player has won. And your net worth is your amount in savings plus your value of your car. Right, I think that's right. Okay, so continue. Okay, so player 1 won the first race. Considering where you both bought your cars, both of them could probably use some work. Press enter to continue. Okay, so you can modify or rebuild your engine, or you can race it as is. I don't know what happens if I say M, but player 2 needs to do that more than player 1. So you can pay $5 per horsepower to increase your horsepower. Or press N to skip modifications at this time. I'm not gonna. I have 100 horsepower. I don't know what to do. You can. Okay, so this is player 2. So if I say M, this one I guess should. Hang on, that doesn't make sense, right? There is a mistake in here because it says player 2 has 315. So it's as if they won the money from the race. I thought that was happening. Alright, I'll have to look into that more. If I press enter... Oh, then these are my options. Oh, wait. Oh, $5 per horsepower. I'm not... Okay, so hang on. Let me look at this. I'm starting with... It doesn't tell me how many horsepower I'm starting with. I think I started with 90. So I have probably this first one in the list here. So $5 per horsepower, you're saying that is 17 horsepowers, so 17 times 5. That gets me over the other car, and I don't know, this 315, I'm not doing that math in my head. So horsepower I want is 107. You can increase to 107 horsepower. It will leave you with $230. Enter yes to confirm modifications. Y, enter. Enter to continue. Okay, and now, so we're saying how we're gonna shift. And player 2's numbers are different, but it's still shifting at 3930 RPM. I'm gonna say enter. Oh, and then, oh, okay. I didn't need to slow down. At one point before, I thought that I had to then slow down the CPU speed because I thought that it was messing it up, but I guess not because I didn't slow it down. So you see this time, the load time is 21:68 because that's the quickest race we finished. Car number 1 still stops burning rubber at 0.6 seconds into the race. They're still both at 1 foot. Oh, look. Oh, this one, it took longer to stop burning rubber because it's at 0.9 instead of 0.7. But it's also 3 feet where this one is 4 feet. So that's closer. I think they're closer together. Car number 2 is still behind, but maybe this is better competition. In the normal or advanced versions of Phase 1, I believe the car choices, instead of saying I want to choose or I want the computer to choose, I think you're saying between, it's transportation and something else. So you can have your transportation cars, which I assume are less good for racing, so that might be the cheaper option. And then the other option I don't remember, but you're choosing yourself no matter which location you want to choose from. It's only in the tutorial version that you get to have the computer choose for you. So if my math is right, a drag race is 1,320 feet. And so half of that would be 660 feet. Car number 1 is still clearly better. Car number 1 just shifted. Car number 2 appears to be 6/10 of a second behind because of when it got to 117 feet. Car number 1 got there at 5 seconds. I assume that gap is just going to get wider. So 3590. This 3590, is that how much the car weighed the first time? That hasn't changed, right? Because, I mean, we changed out the engine. Oh, that's what it means. Modify or rebuild the engine. Is you can do the work, but these options are your options. So you just have to imagine that you did actual work. Wait, car number 2 hasn't even shifted yet. Oh, okay, it just did. I think it's closer. Car number 1 was at 32.62 miles per hour at 6 seconds into the race. Car number 2 got there between 7 and 7.5 seconds. Might be closer than last time. I think the tutorial version has more mistakes because I don't think my dad played it that much. I'm assuming this race is going to end at the same 21.68 because the other car's nowhere near being able to catch up. Car number 1 is more than halfway done, because I think 660 is what I said. And car number 2 is now beyond the halfway point as well. I assume you're supposed to use whatever money you have to rebuild your engine so that you can be faster. Maybe there's other stuff you're supposed to do at some points. But it's also messed up that player 1 didn't get the extra money and player 2 did. Okay, press enter to continue. So player 1's car is now valued at $109, but I did nothing to it. It used to be at $99. It went up by $10. I don't know why. And here's the thing. This needs to say player 1 won. Whoever won the race got money, and this needs to state that and include that in the information. Okay. Continuing. Player 1 has $351. Oh, you can look at used cars, modify your car, or race it as is. I'm gonna modify this because I didn't do that last time. And see what I can do. Oh, wait, hang on. You may have the opportunity to make an engine swap. To look, press enter. Why? Alright, so you can buy a 110 horsepower for $200. Sure. Input the horsepower you desire. I guess I'll do that. It will cost you $200. You can get some help installing it. You can sell the old engine for $85. Do you want to make the swap? Yes. Alright, so I now have 110 horsepower. I have, my current cash is 236. And my car is worth 110, so it went up by $1. It went up by, $1. But that's in addition to, but there's also the $10 that it randomly went up earlier. Hey, I just got a new engine. I don't think that's necessary now. Okay, so this player 2 needs to look at used cars. Player 2 has $330, and I don't know why. I'll have to figure that out. Okay, you have been offered $76 for your current car. You figure this is much more than you could get as a trade-in. If you're serious about buying, you'd better sell it now. Okay, yeah, I'll sell. Alright, you're gonna buy a car. You have $406. You can choose from decent used cars or newspaper want ads. Oh, dude. The decent used cars is probably better, but I'm really curious what the want ads say. I think, they're gonna go through the descriptions like we already saw. But I'm curious. Can't help it. No way back. Forest green with a little rust. Serviceable, but shows wear. Yeah, I don't think the wear matters, right? Not a pretty sight. Olive green and gray primer. Car is basically solid and has a later Mercury engine. Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Looks good in and out, but it's a cruiser, not a racer. Oh. What is this? 1940 Plymouth 4-Pass Deluxe Coupe. A better system would be nice for displaying the cars. You can look at them. This has factory compound carburetors. No idea. Nice looking coupe body with very little rust. The seat covers appear to be made from an old sheet. Seems all original except for rust and dents. So many squeaks and rattles that you couldn't hear a radio if it had one. Okay, originally a V8 60, now has LaSalle drivetrain in running condition. Body and paint are decent. Rumor has it that this car used to run fast with a modified Cadillac flathead V8. Alright, the last one, no. Oh, dude, 1955 Chevy, rescued from the junkyard after years of taxi service. Rust is showing through. The Bondo and the taxi yellow shows through. The washed out primer. The front seat is blue and the back seat is red, but it is ugly, but has a good used 56 engine and runs okay. The suspension and tires are serviceable. Has small V8 and stick shift, but bad paint and loose body putty. No other options, but many miles. Was this a police car? I have no idea. That's interesting. First year for OHV V8 called Y-Block. Nosed and duct, partly in primer, no headliner, and poor interior. 1942 Chevy Coupe. This car has been converted to a big GMC Truck 6 of World War II vintage. Has truck 4-speed and later Power Glide rear end. 1948 Hudson Super 8 Coupe. First year for Hudson's step-down design. Only 5,300 8s were built. With a few exterior changes, it could mimic the 1949 to 51 Mercury Cruisers. Oh, here, input the number of the car you want or 0 to pass. I'm gonna take 11. I don't remember how much it costs. Hopefully I have enough. Okay, so I bought it. I have 140 horsepower, 235 CID, 55 Chevy, 150 4-door sedan, and $106 remaining. I don't need an engine swap. I just bought a car. I do not need modifications. I just bought a car. Alright, now we're doing program to shift, so lane 1 is shifting at 4330 RPM, and lane 2 shifts at 5000 RPM. Because lane 1 only got a new engine. Oh, this is going to be bad. I bet lane 2 is going to win this one. Alright, what do we have? 110 horsepower, 255 CID, 3133 pounds, 411. 140 horsepower, 235 CID, 3165. So it still weighs more, but only a little bit now. And 3.73. I still don't know what that means. So we're waiting for them to stop burning rubber. Car 1 at 0.8 of a second and 3 feet. So that's good. They're finally up to 3 feet. Both of them nearly less than 1 second into the race. Wait a second, 1 second in and car number 2 hasn't stopped burning rubber. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Car number 1 is taking longer, so I'm assuming this is a good thing. They accelerated quicker. But car number 3, car number 1 is still ahead. It's 2 feet ahead. Oh, dude, look at the miles per hour, 14.56 to 14.33. And they're both at 22 feet. Damn, this might be close. I wonder if car number 1 is about to overtake car number 2. Oh, dude, look, 48 feet, 47 feet. They're very close. I'm surprised, man. I thought car number 2 was gonna take off. And then they started and I thought maybe it was behind. Edge of your seat. Dude, they're still close, 83 feet to 82 feet. The 1 is still ahead. I guess I'm wondering if something will change once they shift. Car number 2's going a little bit faster now. It's got a little bit higher RPM. Well, I said I was looking to see a close race, and man, this must be it. Oh, dude, they're still close. Car number 2's RPMs finally went ahead, so... Oh, car number 1 was closer to shifting than I had realized. So what does that mean in our race? If you're still in first gear and the other car's in second gear, your top speed is higher before you shift. I think it doesn't matter something standard. It's like if something happens, it depends on where they were. Oh, dude, car number 2 better shift soon. Oh, dude, it did. Okay. Car number 2's going faster. And it's ahead now. Oh, it got ahead at 5 seconds. I don't know where it was at 5.2. It's a tenth of a second ahead because they're both at 177 feet, one at 6 seconds. Car 2 at 6 seconds and car 1 at 6 and a tenth of a second. 6 seconds and 6.1 seconds. So this is race number 3, I think. Because we should have 2 that are 21.68 seconds. This one's definitely going to be a different number. I don't know how different. I don't know who's going to win. Although I'm starting to think it's car number 2. Car number 2 had a bit of extra to start. Like, it took a little bit longer to start doing better. I'm wondering if that has to do with the weight of the car. It's like momentum. It took longer to get momentum. Yeah, I think it's clearly ahead now. They've both passed the halfway mark. Car number 1 got there between 13 and 14 seconds. And then car number 2 got there between 12 and 13 seconds. Yeah, nearly 13 seconds. And it looks like car number 1 has shifted twice. Car number 2 is going to shift soon, I would assume. Yep, there it goes. I'm thinking in the first race, car number 1 hadn't even gotten to 60 miles per hour by the end of the race. I think it ended at 50 something. Car number 2 is getting close to 60. Car number 2 passed 1,000 feet. Oh, it's almost over. 13 under 14 feet, and now only has to go 6 more feet. Alright, lane 2 wins 70 miles per hour and 65. Alright, enter. Hey, wait. Oh, yeah, player 2 just won a race. Alright, that is true. Enter to continue. So this is player number 1. So I'm gonna say modify. Sure, I'll look. Alright, so it says no engine swaps available, so I want to press enter to do modifications. And these are my options. So I'm at 110 horsepower. How much do I have? I have 336. Here, let me get a calculator real quick. So I have enough money to increase by 67 horsepower and I am at 110, so that would put me to 177, and my closest is 170. Okay, so I want 170 horsepower. That'll spend most of my money. I probably should buy a new car. I'll have $36 left. Y to confirm the modification. Enter to continue. And then this is player 2. Alright, what if we do modify and I do something similar? Oh, we can look at engine swaps. Oh, there's no engine swaps available. Okay, so I'm gonna press enter to look at modifications. Press enter for more. Oh. Wait, I can't scroll up. Hang on, I have $206. Let me do some math. So I can increase by 41 horsepower, and I think I'm starting at 140, so that puts me at 181. They have 180 horsepower right here. So I think that's what I'll do, is 180 horsepower. The horsepower I want is 180. Pretty sure there's so many options because it's a Chevy. Alright, I'll be left with $6. So, somebody is hoping to win and get more money. Alright, so lane 1 is programmed to shift at 5380 RPM, and lane 2 at 5620. Okay, we have a 170 horsepower 255 CID to a 180 horsepower 235 CID. I think we get a second into the race and nobody's stopped burning rubber yet. I wonder if car number 1 is gonna win again. I mean, so far it's ahead by the feet, and seems like they were tied for the first second, but after that it's been ahead since then. I was about to say it's going faster, but that just changed. It's still farther ahead, but it had to shift earlier, so I'm wondering if that means it's gonna end up losing. They're so similar. I wonder if we finish in less than 20 seconds this time. This should be the last race of this phase, and then this phase will end this video, and then I'll start the next video for the next phase. Car number 1 is ahead. I think I was looking at the, was I looking at miles per hour? Because car number 1 has been ahead. It's not very far ahead, but it is ahead. It's just going a little bit slower. So it could end up losing because it's not going as quick. It won't be able to hold its lead. But it's still 4 feet in front. It is losing its distance because at 7 seconds into the race it was 5 feet ahead. But we'll have to see, because it's been 2 seconds and it's still 4 feet ahead. And we're not halfway done with the race, but we should be pretty close to half. I mean, I can see that they've gone around 400 feet, so they need to go another 260 feet, but we're at 9 seconds and I'm still guessing this is going to be under 20-second race. Oh, it's only 3 feet ahead. It'll be around 15 seconds that it ends up losing its lead, or it'll be a little more than 15, so like 16 to 18 seconds, and it'll lose its lead. Okay, so they both passed the halfway mark between 12 and 13 seconds. Car number 1 is still 2 feet ahead. Actually, it would just had gotten up to, oh wait, let me look at this. Car number 1 was 4 feet ahead at 8 seconds. It was 4 feet ahead at 9 seconds. It was 3 feet ahead at 10 seconds. But then it was 4 feet ahead at 11 seconds. Oh, and then it was only 3 feet ahead at 12 seconds. And now it's back down to 2 feet ahead, and now it's tied, and it just shifted, so maybe it can start going quicker. Maybe it'll pick up its speed a bit. Oh dude, its speed is actually, oh no, it is going slower. Oh, I was looking at that wrong. Okay, so it shifted. It's still going slower. And now it's 3 feet behind. Man, that one's gonna lose, isn't it? Car number 2 is about to shift. And that means it'll start going faster, I assume. Man, it's 6 feet behind now. And it's going slower. It's 9 feet behind. I don't think it's going as much slower, but I could be wrong. Even if it isn't as much slower, it's still not likely to get in enough. They're gonna win soon. Or finish, yeah. Lane 2. It was close. It only had 11 more feet to go. I don't remember for any of the other races how any of them did. Man, that was a close one though, compared to some of the others. Okay. They've each won 2 races. They have barely any money, although their money should go up. Alright, so we're continuing. This is the end of phase 1. Press enter to load phase 2 or E to end. Okay, so this is the end of phase 1. I am going to at some point play phase 2 and record that, and that'll be on here. Although I don't actually know, there's some things that I'm wondering how that's gonna work. So, thank you for watching, and so if you do play this, let me know what cars you chose.